Hey guys, Joseph from AutoMeter here. Today we are out at Bemis Ford in beautiful Sycamore, Illinois, home of the AutoMeter factory. And the folks at Bemis have been nice enough to let us play with one of their new 2012 5.0 Mustangs. We got the Coyote motor here. We're going to be doing an installation of a fuel pressure gauge, an oil pressure gauge, and a DPSS Tach shift light combo. So we're going to walk you through the steps and show you what it takes to do this installation yourself. We'll begin by removing the factory A-pillar trim. We start at the back, slowly work our way forward. This pops out nice and easy. Just be aware of the two little hooks on the leading edge of it where it meets the dash, but really it comes apart nice and easy. So we put our powers together, we put our grounds together, solder and heat shrink everything, and build our harness out. Once those are in place, we're going to add some zip ties, keep everything bunched together nice and neat. Using a step drill bit, we put a hole in the factory A-pillar where we're going to pass our wiring through. We put that on the bottom here, run the wires through, and then the gauge mount's going to layer right on top of that. And you can see how nice the fit is on that. So we drill a couple very small holes in the corners. That allows us to put our push pins in. That keeps everything nice and secure. We also took the extra step of adding a strain relief. This isn't mandatory, just ensures that we've got good support for the wires and make sure we've got enough slack if we ever have to service the gauges, we can take them free from the pillar without removing the whole thing. So the pillar goes into the vehicle. Wiring simple, just drops right in this little spot in the corner. Underneath the dash near the outside edge, we put a slit in the factory insulation. Wires pop right through to the firewall. This is one of the easiest pass-throughs we've done in any of our installations. So with the wires coming through, we go to get power for our gauges. We need switched power. In the passenger kick well, we've got a little fuse panel. And there's a 10 amp fuse that we use, comes on and off with the key right above that big relay. You can see our add-a-circuit kit right there. So that takes care of our power. Our ground we found right underneath the steering column mount. Put that in place with a star washer and we're good to go. Now normally we're going to recommend against the use of a test light when poking around electrically on a vehicle. We really recommend the use of a multimeter. In this particular instance though, the test light actually is the right tool for the job. We're looking for power for the lights for our gauges. So we've back probed the purple wire with the white stripe right on the dimmer harness, and this piece just pops right out. You can see we're back probed in, and as we move the dimmer down and move it back up, our test light responds exactly as the dash lights do. With our light wire identified, we tee in with the wire for our gauges. Now, normally with a Cobalt or any of the LED gauges, we're going to need to use our 9114 dimmer module. The factory dimmer is a pulse width modulated dimmer on this Mustang, and as you can see, works perfectly without the module. Now, because there's not a Tach signal anywhere on this vehicle, we do need to use the AutoMeter 9117 Tach adapter. We route all the power for the coils, which can be found on this little connector harness underneath the radiator hose. There's a yellow wire with a green stripe. We route all 8 coils power through the Tach adapter, and that's what's going to give us our Tach signal. So peel back a little bit of the wiring there. Now we want to verify that this is indeed the case. Although the wiring diagram says something, it's a newer vehicle, we're not always sure. So there's our yellow wire, our green stripe. On the other side of the connector, it's a purple wire. So now we're going to back probe the purple wire at the coil pack connector, and as you can see, we've got perfect continuity. That is the wire that we're looking for. Our diagram was right, and we physically verified it on the vehicle as well, just to be certain. So now that we verified, we cut this in half. Our yellow wire with the green stripe. We've got a hot wire, and then we have the wire that goes to the coils. We install our supplied connectors that came with the Tach adapter. We run the hot wire to the red wire on the adapter, and the wire to the coils goes to the red wire with the green stripe. Solder and heat shrink is the rule here, so make sure we're getting that done properly. Our ground, we can use the factory ground location right on the core support. We remove that and install our ground wire with a star washer to ensure proper conductivity. With that all out of the way, we want to mount our Tach adapter to the vehicle. Rather than drill holes, we use this 3M super sticky double-sided tape. Got a spot that looks like it was made for it right in the corner there.
Now we put some slit tubing on the wires to keep it safe. We're going to run that across the factory location on the back of the firewall. That'll allow us to connect to our pass-through. Moving right along, we're going to install the fuel pressure sender onto the vehicle. We've removed the factory engine cover as well as the strut tower brace to make it easy to access. There's our factory fuel rail here. Now we've got this cool little adapter from the folks at Central Florida Motorsports. It's a plug-and-play connection, allows us to very easily put a fuel pressure sender on the rail. Factory-style hookups there. It's as easy as undoing the clip, removing the factory hose, and putting this unit in place there in between the two. Now we broke one of our cardinal rules here, and we used Teflon tape with this, and we had fuel leakage when we first fired up the system. So use a liquid Teflon thread sealant. Once we used a proper thread compound, we were good to go. But avoid the Teflon tape with this one. And you can see here how we've got the wires nicely sheathed and run back. Onto the oil pressure sender. Underneath the vehicle on the oil filter housing is the factory oil pressure switch. This is a 1/4-inch NPT fitting, so we use just off-the-shelf hardware store 1/4-inch NPT T-fittings. Install the AutoMeter sender in a dual male fitting as so here. Leave the factory switch out until we get it installed. So we're going to put that into shape. Liquid Teflon thread sealant as always. And then we install the factory switch into the T. You're going to want a stubby 21mm wrench to do this job, otherwise it's real tight under there. But you can see with the connector plugged in how everything is supposed to look once it's installed. Now we go in to finish a few things up. We want to button up our wiring to keep it off of those hot exhaust manifolds. When we went to reinstall the engine cover, it was real tight where that sender hooked up, so we actually dremeled a little bit of space out of there. Not totally necessary to do. We just preferred the more buttoned up appearance there, having everything just so. And as you can see, the gauges look absolutely spectacular in the vehicle. We were thrilled with this installation, so hope this was helpful to you. If you have questions, please contact the AutoMeter service department at 866-248-6357. Thank you so much, and happy motoring.